What happens when a state governor steps into Congress, swears an oath to tell the truth, and then spends more than 3 hours dodging every direct question? That's exactly what unfolded when South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem faced Congressman Bennie Thompson. In a fiery Homeland Security hearing, she was accused of lying under oath, defying the Supreme Court, and even deporting sick American children without due process. This wasn't just political drama, it was a chilling portrait of power, deception, and the unraveling of constitutional guardrails.
Well, Congressman, President Trump has been very clear that he believes that FEMA should be eliminated as it exists today. He believes there's dramatic reforms that need to happen to the agency in order for it to truly serve people in a time of crisis. He wants to empower states and local governments to respond to their people. The federal government would be there for resources, support, much like block grants, but that we need to empower those locally to respond to their people because they know what they need. That is something that every state is at a different position today to respond, but he wants to give them the opportunity to build up the infrastructure to respond to their emergency.
Madam Secretary, do you have this plan in writing?
The White House is coming forward with the participation of the FEMA Review Council, which we have members from many states that are sitting on that will be making recommendations.
So what you're doing now, there's nothing in writing as a guidepost.
Well, sir, you certainly know that there are reform bills here in the House side and in the Senate side of how to address the failures of FEMA from the past.
No, but you're the secretary.
Those will be considered with the FEMA Review Council recommendations.
No, you're the secretary, and you say you're doing all these things, and I'm just asking you, do you have a written plan for what you're doing?
There is no formalized final plan for how this goes forward because the input of Congress is critically important. As you know, there are statutory requirements of the agency.
Well, I'm glad you recognize,
that needs to be
Madam
balanced with the
Secretary, I'm glad you recognize the statutory requirements. Washington State, Mississippi, and a couple other states already have requests in to you or to the President for disaster declaration, and it's taken an inordinate amount of time, more than normal. I just want to know, is that inordinate amount of time is based on some plan that you have knowledge of? But if it's not in writing, I understand. So you talked about the rule of law. Are you telling the committee that due process for anybody that's picked up in this country should not be followed?
Congressman, we have utilized due process as it is laid out in the tools that Congress has given us. We have followed the tools and the processes to which Congress has given us to give due process to people appropriately as it is due.
So your testimony to this committee under oath is that everybody that ICE has picked up in this country has been given every opportunity as Section 5 under the Constitution provides.
Correct. I believe everybody has gotten due process and every person has been treated appropriately according to the civil or the criminal action to which they were encountering individuals and brought into our detainment and then also removed from this country.
So your answer is yes.
The tools that you have given us as this
I'm
body
talking about the
for due
Constitution
process
of the
have been
United
implemented.
States. I'm not talking about tools. The Constitution is clear.
Correct.
And your testimony under oath to this committee is that everybody that ICE has picked up and any other agency of DHS has conformed to those statutes.
For example, Congressman,
Yes or no? No, I don't need an example.
Expedited removal is one of the
Madam
tools
Secretary,
that you have
I
given
got
us to
4
utilize
seconds.
as due process.
I just need a yes or no.
Sir, that is the due process tool that you have given us to utilize that has been appropriately.
So obviously,
Gentleman's time has expired.
I have a unanimous consent request, Chairman.
I'm sorry?
I have a unanimous consent request.
From the very start of the hearing, Thompson wasted no time in setting the tone. He reminded Noem of the oath she had taken only moments before to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But according to Thompson, that oath was broken almost immediately. He charged her with perjury, accusing her of testifying that her administration followed the Constitution while federal courts had already ruled otherwise. In fact, judges found that the Department of Homeland Security, under her leadership, believed it had the right to stash away residents of the United States in foreign prisons without so much as a shred of due process. That, Thompson said, wasn't just a violation of law, it was a betrayal of the very foundation of American democracy. And if that sounded alarming, what came next was even more damning. The name Kilmar Garcia quickly surfaced. The Supreme Court had ruled unanimously that Garcia must be returned to the United States, a rare show of complete agreement from the highest court in the land. Yet Noem defied that order, stating that Garcia would never return. For Thompson, this wasn't just a disagreement over policy. It was outright contempt of court, a direct challenge to the authority of the judicial branch. If a governor could ignore a unanimous Supreme Court decision, what did that mean for the separation of powers? Thompson's warning was stark. This was not just about one case, it was about the dangerous erosion of judicial authority and the rise of unchecked executive power. But the outrage didn't stop there. Thompson revealed another shocking charge. Under Noem's watch, the Department of Homeland Security had overseen the deportation of U.S. citizen children, including children who were gravely ill with cancer. Families were lured to ICE appointments under false pretenses, led to believe they were simply attending routine check-ins. Instead, they were met with lies, denied access to attorneys, and in many cases stripped of the chance to speak with fathers before being deported. Court orders that could have halted these actions were ignored, and children, American citizens, were forced out of the country. Thompson didn't mince words. This was not a bureaucratic oversight, he declared. This was a deliberate human rights atrocity, a cold, calculated assault on families and children at their most vulnerable moments. As horrifying as those stories were, Thompson pushed the hearing even further, painting a broader picture of what DHS had become under Noem. He accused her of hollowing out the very agency tasked with protecting the homeland. Instead of maintaining its diverse mission, cybersecurity, disaster response, aviation safety, Thompson argued that Noem had turned DHS into nothing more than a border wall construction agency obsessed with deportations. He pointed to budget requests slashing funding for FEMA, cybersecurity programs, and CISA, the very office responsible for defending America against digital attacks. At a time when foreign adversaries like China are ramping up cyber warfare, the United States, Thompson warned, was being left exposed. But it wasn't only the cuts that alarmed him. Thompson went on to call out Noem for spreading dangerous conspiracy theories, particularly her false claim that CISA acted as a censorship agency. He stressed that CISA never censored anyone. Instead, he said, this lie was part of a larger GOP strategy after 2020, discrediting government agencies that protect elections and national security by rebranding them as partisan threats. By doing so, these agencies could be gutted, leaving America vulnerable while political leaders gained more unchecked control. Thompson's message was clear. This wasn't just reckless, it was intentional institutional sabotage. Then came the most chilling moment of all. After laying out the accusations, perjury, contempt of court, deporting sick children, hollowing out Homeland Security, and spreading disinformation, Thompson looked directly at Noem and delivered a symbolic warning. If you dance with the devil long enough, he's liable to follow your home. It wasn't just a sharp line for the cameras, it was a direct admonition about the dangers of aligning with Trumpism and the authoritarian wing of the Republican Party. Thompson's words suggested that the very forces Noem was enabling could one day turn against her, devouring her leadership and leaving behind nothing but destruction. But beneath that personal warning lay a deeper crisis. This hearing, Thompson argued, was about more than Kristi Noem. It was about the future of American governance itself. Would government agencies like DHS uphold their constitutional duties, protecting citizens and defending the nation? Or would they become partisan weapons, tools of political loyalty, rather than instruments of national security? In Thompson's telling, Noem had chosen the latter, transforming DHS into a machine of deportations while dismantling the safeguards that protect Americans from disaster, cyber warfare, and foreign aggression. The clash laid bare a dangerous trend. Under Noem's leadership, the Department of Homeland Security was shifting from defending Americans to targeting them, prioritizing loyalty to Trump over fidelity to the Constitution. It was a portrait of cruelty disguised as national defense, of authoritarian tactics threatening to unravel the very institutions that hold the nation together. For Thompson, the stakes couldn't be higher. The rule of law, the integrity of democratic institutions, and even the safety of American families was on the line. In the end, this wasn't just another heated exchange on Capitol Hill. It was a high-stakes confrontation that revealed the widening fracture between MAGA-aligned officials and the constitutional guardrails meant to restrain them. It posed urgent, unsettling questions. Is the Constitution being sacrificed at the altar of political loyalty? Is national security being traded for spectacle? And is DHS still serving its true purpose, or has it become just another partisan weapon? So what do you think? Was Bennie Thompson right to accuse Kristi Noem of perjury, contempt, and betrayal of constitutional duty? Or was this simply political theater meant to score points? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the stories shaping the future of American politics.